Hey guys, I'm John Barklow, and I want to talk to you today about backcountry sleep systems. So sleep and rest in the backcountry is vital to continued performance. And really, let's be honest, what's the point if you're going to stop and set up camp if you're not going to be able to get a good night's rest to recover for the next day? And so the best way to do this is to look at a sleep system holistically. Now, obviously a sleeping bag is the most obvious choice, but it's more than a sleeping bag that's going to work together to give you that good, consistent night's rest in the backcountry. So when you look at a sleeping bag, kind of take the temperature rating of the bag with a grain of salt. It's a suggestion. There's way too many other factors to consider than just the rating of the bag, such as your clothing system, the shelter you're using, the weather, so the temperature, the humidity, things like that, your individual physiology, and then how well you're fueling yourself with both food and water. All these things are going to affect how you stay warm at night in the backcountry. And so the sleeping bag is just that central component. So what I suggest is kind of figuring out your average low temp and then getting a bag that's got a rating similar to that. So a 20-degree bag is a really good place to start. Now, I've gotten away with 20 to even 30-degree bags year-round, even in the winter in Alaska, with my experience and built around a holistic sleep system. But in milder temperatures, say elk season, mule deer seasons, these archery seasons in August, September, even into October, I may choose to leave the sleeping bag at home and just bring a puffy jacket and a pair of puffy pants. And that really gives me more of a functional sleeping bag that I can move in and allows me to take advantage of, say, a deer bed or getting under a rock outcropping. And that, in conjunction with a bivy sack and a ground pad, or maybe an early season backcountry sleep system, or maybe a late season backcountry sleep system, is maybe more traditional where you have a tent and a bag, etc. Now, the ground pad is critical to any system that you choose to put together. Now, the ground pad is really to provide not just comfort, but also warmth. Now, an inflatable ground pad is on average going to be warmer than a foam ground pad. It's just going to trap more dead air underneath you to insulate you from the ground from that conductive cooling. A foam pad is not going to have nearly the insulative value, but it is going to be a little more durable, and so you're going to have to kind of weigh that out. But either way, you have to have a ground pad underneath you to make sure that you are insulated from the ground, and then the insulation around you to protect you and trap that body heat. Now, a couple other things are a beanie. You always want to wear a beanie. I don't care if it's summertime in the desert and you're bundled up in whatever clothing or sleep system you have. Without a beanie, the heat's going to escape out the top of your head. So it's important to have that. And then if you suffer from cold feet, maybe bring in a pair of puffy socks or even camp booties. So I suggest always sleeping in a pair of dry socks, but if that's not enough, a pair of puffy socks or a pair of camp booties allows that little bit of extra insulation. Now, the last thing that I do is I always sleep in my clothes in the backcountry. So this isn't just to add insulative value to my sleep system, but it's also so for efficiency. Now, it could be from all my years in the military that I don't want to kind of literally and figuratively get caught with my pants down, but I find that sleeping in my clothes, one, it helps dry them out at night, two, it keeps them warm, and three, it really allows me to react to anything that may happen in the night. So a pulled tent anchor in a windstorm, having to get out of the tent and shovel snow away in a snowstorm. Maybe there's a predator in camp that you need to get out and react to, or of course, getting out and relieving yourself. So I like to sleep in my clothes, and I factor all this together to create a holistic sleep system. Now listen, at the end of the day, you have to go out and spend some nights in the field and log a bunch of time and figure out what works for you. And in that process, there's a really good chance you're gonna spend some nights out and be cold or wet or a little miserable. And that's all just part of the learning experience. And honestly, that's part of the fun. But in the end, when you build a sleep system, don't look at it as just a sleeping bag. Look at it as a holistic bunch of parts that are gonna work together to give you that good night's rest in the backcountry.